In the year 470,000 AD, reactor cores flared to life on a desolate planet at the galaxy's edge, powering up a human war fleet that all the universe thought long dead. And the Galactic Council was about to get the shock of 100 million lifetimes. Lights snapped on inside a cavernous underground hangar, illuminating rows of colossal battleships, carriers, and dreadnoughts. These titanic vessels bore the crests of the legendary Terran Stellar Navy, which once commanded the stars at the zenith of mankind's power. But that had been eons ago, before the humans vanished. Now, as ancient systems spun up for the first time in millennia, the warships rumbled out of stasis. Fusion drives roared to life, their light blazing. Anti-gravity engines hummed with barely restrained power. Impenetrable energy shields shimmered around hulls of indestructible alloy. Impossibly advanced beam cannons and antimatter launchers bristled, primed to unleash Armageddon. On the bridge of the dreadnought TSN Retribution, a lone figure stumbled from a cryopod, shaking off the fog of ages-long slumber. Captain Wayne Mason found his bearings as hollow projections of long-dead admirals relayed his standing orders. Resurrect the human race. Rebuild galactic civilization. Take back mankind's rightful place as the supreme power of the cosmos. Yet the galaxy had moved on as humanity slept. In their absence, the Vorta Imperium had crushed all rivals, seizing absolute dominion. Led by a tyrant emperor, the Vorta commanded the Galactic Council with an iron fist. They had purged nearly every trace of man's existence from history, cementing their rule. The stage was set for a space opera of apocalyptic proportions, as the last of the humans marshaled for total war against a universe that had forgotten them. TSN battle groups powered up weapons not seen since the dawn of time, preparing to engage an alien empire that bestrode the galaxy unopposed. The Vorta were about to face a vengeful onslaught from an ancient race all others thought extinct. The future of galactic civilization hung in the balance. The fate of uncounted trillions would be decided in the flames of supernovas, as humanity began its crusade to overthrow alien tyranny and restore mankind's lost golden age to the stars. As the human battle groups departed their long-lost redoubt, their reactors thrumming with the power to reshape the cosmos, Wayne and his bridge crew aboard TSN Retribution poured over the intelligence streaming in. They intercepted Vorta comms traffic, the chatter painting a picture of a galaxy much changed since the last time humans set foot among the stars. One transmission stood out. Reports of Emperor Laros, the iron-fisted Vorta tyrant himself, being forced to divert his attention to quashing an uprising on the fringes of his domain. Wayne leaned forward, eyes flashing. Laros is distracted. Vortex Prime will be vulnerable without his direct oversight. This is our chance to cut the head off the serpent. Conferring with his fellow captains, Wayne outlined an audacious scheme, a surprise all-out assault on the Galactic Council's capital world, aiming to wipe out the Vorta High Command in one devastating strike. Some urged caution, but Wayne's force of will won out. The fleet was committed. They would roll the dice on this high-stakes gambit. As the human armada bore down on Vortex Prime, a swarm of ships materialized on their scanners. The Vorta had sensed the danger and rallied an armada under the notorious Admiral Zargox to meet the invaders head-on. TSN vessels and Vorta warships positioned into battle formations, the fabric of space crackling with tension. Then, the storm broke. Human antimatter torpedoes and particle beams opened up on the Vorta fleet, met by a hail of the enemy's plasma cannons and graviton pulses. The void lit up like a supernova, as ships on both sides died in flame. Zargox's forces gave as good as they got, but the humans' quantum shields and ultra-dense armor absorbed the worst of it. Wayne seized the edge, his tactical algorithms forecasting the Vorta's moves, allowing the TSN ships to counter their every play. Slowly, inevitably, the humans gained the upper hand through attrition and superior tech. Zargox's fleet crumpled, but at a steep cost. Burning TSN hulks joined mangled Vorta wrecks, drifting in the silence of space. Under cover of the chaos, a human assault shuttle slipped through, Wayne leading the charge. They blasted their way into the Galactic Council citadel, the once pristine halls smoldering as Vorta guards fell to human fire. In the Council's Grand Chamber, Wayne came face to steel-masked face with the Vorta Grand Vizier Karlan, Laros's vicious right hand. They squared off, encased in powered combat exoskeletons, plasma blades humming. "Why?" Wayne snarled as they clashed, parrying Karlan's scything strike. "Why did you Vorta try to blot us out from history?" Karlan laughed, a harsh bark. "You humans were the only ones to ever beat us outright, halt the Vorta tide. We purged all trace of you so no others would dare dream of defying us as you did." Centuries-old fury propelled Wayne to superhuman speed. His blade flickered, Karlan's head toppling from his shoulders. As the Vizier's corpse slumped, Wayne ripped the data cores from the Council computers. The truth would now be known. Returning to his flagship, Wayne broadcast to the galaxy as the human fleet pounded Vortex Prime and the Council installations to rubble. He proclaimed humanity's return, that the Vorta's days of tyranny were numbered. He entreated all to rise against their alien masters, to reclaim their destinies. Across the stars, 100 worlds stirred to rebellion at Wayne's words. The Vorta's subject races casting off their shackles. The Vorta's dominion, once unassailable, teetered on the brink. But on the frontier, Emperor Laros seethed with rage, still possessed of legions and dreadnoughts beyond counting. Humanity had struck the first blow, but the battle for the soul of the galaxy was only beginning. The triumph over Vortex Prime still rang through TSN Retribution's halls as Captain Wayne Mason gathered his officers in the war room. Holo displays flickered to life, revealing intercepted Vorta transmissions. "Emperor Laros is regrouping on Carthor," Wayne said, zooming in on a fortified world overflowing with defenses. "We hit them hard, but the snake still has teeth." Captain Sarah Chen of the TSN Dauntless leaned forward. "So what's our play?" Wayne outlined the plan. "We split our forces. Sarah, you'll lead hit-and-run strikes across Vorta space. Keep them off balance. Fan the flames of rebellion." "And you?" Chen asked. "I'm taking retribution straight for Laros. Cut the head off the snake." Hushed whispers filled the room. It was a bold gambit, but these were desperate times. Hours later, Wayne stood on Retribution's bridge as they exited FTL above Carthor. A swarm of Vorta ships filled the view screen. "All hands, battle stations!" Wayne barked. Retribution's guns roared to life, lancing out at the Vorta fleet. Smaller human vessels darted between enemy formations, unleashing devastating torpedo salvos. Wayne gripped his command chair as the ship shuddered under return fire. "Push through their lines, get us to the surface." Colonel James Briggs' voice crackled over the comm. "Marines are prepped and ready, sir." Retribution plunged through Carthor's atmosphere, plasma bolts sizzling past the viewport. The Imperial Palace loomed ahead, a fortress of twisted metal and stone. "Briggs, you're up!" Wayne shouted. Marine dropships screamed from Retribution's hangars, racing towards the palace as point defense turrets filled the sky with fire. Wayne watched Briggs' team touch down and begin their assault. "Sir," his tactical officer called out. "New contact! Laros is making a run for it!" Wayne's eyes narrowed as he spotted the armored shuttle fleeing the palace. "Not today, you bastard! Helm, pursuit course! Weapons, target those escort ships!" Retribution gave chase, trading broadsides with Laros's protectors. Alarms blared as their shields weakened under the barrage. "Shields critical," the Opis officer reported. Wayne saw their chance slipping away. He made a split-second decision. "Ramming speed!" Retribution's prow smashed into Laros's shuttle, sending both craft spiraling towards Carthor's surface. They hit hard, kicking up a massive dust cloud. Wayne stumbled from the wreckage, his powered armor dented but functional. He saw Briggs and a squad of Marines converging on their position. "Form up," Wayne ordered. "Laros is on foot. We end this now." They pursued Laros through rocky terrain, exchanging fire with his Praetorian Guard. Wayne's armor's targeting systems highlighted threats, allowing him to drop Vorta soldiers with pinpoint shots. Finally, they cornered Laros and his remaining guards in a narrow canyon. Wayne charged forward, his armor's servos whining as he engaged the Vorta Emperor in close combat. Laros fought like a cornered animal, his own battlesuit enhancing his already formidable strength. They traded bone-crushing blows, neither giving ground. "Why resist?" Laros spat. "The Vorta are destined to rule." Wayne slammed his armored fist into Laros's faceplate. "That's where you're wrong." With a final decisive strike, Wayne brought the tyrant to his knees. Laros's armor sparked and sputtered, badly damaged. "Finish it," Laros growled. "Prove you're no better than us." Wayne hesitated, his finger on the trigger. He thought of all the suffering the Vorta had caused, the worlds they'd burned. But he also remembered why humanity had fought so hard to return. In that moment of hesitation, Laros lunged forward with a hidden blade. Wayne reacted on instinct, his weapon discharging point blank into the Emperor's chest. Laros slumped to the ground, lifeless. An era of tyranny ended not with a grand speech, but with a quiet death in the dust. Word of Laros's demise spread like wildfire. Vorta-controlled worlds erupted in revolt. The human fleet seized the opportunity, choking off supply lines and crushing any organized resistance. Victory seemed assured, but in the shadows, a new threat stirred. On the fringes of known space, a vast armada of Klon mercenary ships dropped out of FTL. Their hulls rippled with experimental cloaking fields, weapons primed for war. The Klon warlord Grakath stood on his flagship's bridge, baring razor-sharp teeth in anticipation. "The Vorta have paid well for our aid. Now we show these humans the meaning of true savagery." With a thought, Grakath's fleet engaged their phase drives. Hundreds of warships simply winked out of normal space, ready to bring a new kind of hell to the unsuspecting human forces. The victory over Emperor Laros was short-lived. As Captain Wayne Mason and his crew celebrated aboard the TSN Retribution, alarms blared through the ship. "Sir, multiple contacts!" the tactical officer shouted. They're right on top of us!" Wayne rushed to the view screen. Where there had been empty space moments ago, a swarm of alien vessels now filled the void. Their hulls rippled and shimmered, as if not fully solid. "Klon mercenaries," Wayne growled. "They've allied with the Vorta remnants." Before he could issue orders, lances of energy tore through several human ships. Shields failed to stop the attacks, leaving gaping holes in hull plating. "How are they bypassing our defenses?" Wayne demanded. His chief engineer's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain, their weapons are phasing through our shields somehow. We're sitting ducks." Wayne clenched his fists. "Not for long. I want a team analyzing every scrap of Klon tech we've captured. Find me a weakness." Days passed as the human fleet suffered heavy losses. The Klon's hit-and-run tactics left a trail of crippled ships in their wake. Finally, a breakthrough came. Wayne gathered his officers as the chief engineer presented their findings. "The Klon cloaks operate on a specific resonance frequency," she explained. "If we modulate our shields randomly, it should disrupt their phasing." Wayne nodded. "Make it happen. All ships, implement shield modulation immediately." With their new countermeasure in place, the human fleet prepared to face the Klon Vorta alliance at Kravos 5. As the battle began, Klon dreadnoughts flickered into view, weapons blazing. This time the modulating shields held. Human fighters swarmed from carriers, peppering the massive Klon ships with missile fire. Capital ships traded salvos, space lighting up with the flash of beam weapons and explosions. On the Retribution's bridge, Wayne coordinated the fleet's movements. "Concentrate fire on their flagship," he ordered. "Don't let up." Suddenly, alarms blared. "Sir, Klon boarding parties," an officer reported. "They're trying to teleport aboard." Wayne's fingers flew across his console. "Not today," he muttered, activating a jamming field. The teleportation attempts fizzled out. A massive shape loomed on the screen. The Klon flagship, its cloaking field flickering as it brought weapons to bear. The Retribution shuddered under the barrage, but held together. Damage reports coming in from all decks, the XO reported. We can't take much more of this. Wayne's eyes narrowed. Then we end this now. Colonel Briggs. The Marine commander's gruff voice answered. Standing by, sir. Prepare your team for boarding action. We're taking that ship. Briggs' assault shuttle blasted from the Retribution's launch bay, weaving through the chaos of battle. They latched onto the Klon flagship's hull, cutting their way inside with plasma torches. The Marines fought a running battle through twisting corridors, clan berserkers hurling themselves at the humans in waves of alien fury. Briggs led from the front, his rifle spitting death as they pushed towards the bridge. Finally, they breached the command center. Briggs found himself face-to-face with the Klon warlord Krax, a towering figure in ornate battle armor. As they clashed in close combat, Wayne's voice came over the comm. Briggs, we have a firing solution on the bridge. Clear out. The Marines retreated, leaving Krax exposed. The Retribution's main guns opened up, blasting the Klon leader and his bridge crew to atoms. With their leader gone, the remaining Klon ships broke formation and fled. Human vessels gave chase, mopping up stragglers. In the battle's aftermath, Wayne wasted no time integrating captured Klon tech into Earth's arsenal. The cloaking systems would give them a crucial edge in the fights to come. Energized by their victory, Wayne broadcast a galaxy-wide message. He invited all worlds freed from Vorta control to join a new confederacy of allied systems under human protection. The response was overwhelming, as countless species rallied to the human banner. But even as the Confederacy grew, a shadow loomed. The Vorta were down, but not out. They regrouped under a new leader, the ruthless Grand Admiral Zaz Ark. Her first act was to unleash a wave of terror, reducing entire colonies to ash as a warning against further rebellion. The war for the galaxy's future was just the beginning. The victory over Emperor Laros proved short-lived. Alarms blared through the TSN Retribution as reports flooded in of entire worlds reduced to ash. Grand Admiral Zaz Ark, the new Vorta Supreme Commander, had launched a brutal campaign of extermination. Wayne watched in horror as footage showed colonial planets engulfed in sickly green light. Vorta ships unleashed molecular disintegration bombs, vaporizing all life in seconds. Billions of lives snuffed out in an instant. We have to stop this, Wayne growled, smacking his head on the command console. Days later, he led a strike team to infiltrate the Vorta shipyards of Molrax. They slipped past automated defenses, fighting through waves of guards. Wayne's armor was scorched and dented as they reached the central database. Download everything, he ordered, inserting a data spike. Alarms blared. Vorta troops converged on their position. Wayne's team fought a desperate rearguard action as the schematics transferred. Half his squad fell before they reached the extraction point. Back on the Retribution, Wayne's chief engineer pored over the stolen data. We can develop countermeasures, she said, but it'll take time. Time they didn't have. Reports of devastation poured in daily. Entire civilizations wiped out before help could arrive. The Confederacy's perseverance began to waver. How many more must die? An Arcturian ambassador demanded during an emergency council. Perhaps surrender is the only way to survive. Wayne slammed his hands on the table. And become slaves again? No. We have one chance to end this. He laid out his plan, a preemptive strike against Zaz Ark's mobile fortress. For months they prepared. Ships were retrofitted, troops trained for the assault. Finally, the combined Confederate fleet made the blind hyperspace jump into the heart of Vorta territory. They emerged in a sea of stars, Zaz Ark's mammoth battle station looming before them. All ships engage, Wayne ordered. The battle erupted in fury. Beams of energy crisscrossed space as fighters swarmed between capital ships. Wayne led the Retribution on a charge towards the station, weaving through debris and weapons fire. He and Colonel Briggs spearheaded the boarding action, blasting their way through twisting corridors. Vorta defense turrets spat plasma bolts. Genetically enhanced monstrosities with too many limbs and razor-sharp claws threw themselves at the humans in waves. They fought their way to the reactor core, mowing down Vorta troops. Wayne planted demolition charges as Briggs provided covering fire. Victory seemed within reach. Suddenly, claxons blared. A cold voice echoed through the station. "Fools!" Zazark gloated. "You've sealed your own doom." Wayne's eyes widened as he saw reactor readings spike dangerously. "She's overloading the core." "We have to abort," Briggs shouted. Wayne shook his head. "If that blast goes off, it'll wipe out everything. We have to redirect it." Briggs nodded grimly. "Get to the retribution. I'll handle this." "Like hell," Wayne started to argue, but Briggs shoved him towards the exit. "That's an order, Captain. Now go." Wayne ran, anguish twisting his gut as he left his friend behind. He barely made it back to the retribution as the station's core went critical. A blinding flash erupted. But instead of annihilation, the energy lanced into the heart of the black nebula. Space itself seemed to tear open, a hungry void swallowing ships whole. Wayne stared in awe and terror as the battlefield disintegrated around him. He knew what had to be done. "All hands, abandon ship," he ordered, setting a collision course for Zaz-Ark's crippled station. The Retribution's hull groaned as it accelerated. Wayne fought the controls, aiming for the command center. At the last second, he dove for an escape pod. The impact shattered both vessels. Wayne's pod tumbled away, joining a handful of others carrying the last remnants of human knowledge and culture. He watched helplessly as the singularity devoured everything: ships, stations, even light itself. The pod's systems flickered and died as the event horizon approached. In those final moments, Wayne reflected on humanity's long struggle. They had clawed their way back to the stars, only to face extinction once more. Yet even as darkness claimed him, a spark of hope remained. Perhaps someday, new life would rise from the cosmic ashes to write the next chapter in the galaxy's story.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel. And for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.